Darth Vader versus Darth Maul. Two powerful Sith Lords going at it. The only question is, who is more powerful? Well, today we're going to put that to the test and see which one of these two deadly Sith Lords are coming out on top. So let's get to it. To start it off, we're going to take a look at Darth Vader. When Darth Vader was Anakin Skywalker, he was the most powerful Jedi for his millennium, or his generation. But then, it wasn't until Revenge of the Sith where he was the most powerful Jedi on the Jedi Council, more powerful than Jedi Masters Mace Windu and Master Yoda. And he also he was more powerful than Darth Sidious himself. And when he did the duel on Mustafar with Obi-Wan Kenobi, well, that was his height of the power he had. And then he caught on fire by Obi-Wan Kenobi, turned into a deep-fried curly fry, and then was put inside the cybernetic suit, keeping him alive, making him Darth Vader. And just to make one thing clear, Vader's prime is going to be Return of the Jedi. And using his hate and his anger, it was able to keep him alive. But still, he lost a lot of potential in the Force and his skills, because there wasn't just barely any human left in him, not as much Anakin left. And since he had to relearn everything he had to do, well, it was pretty tough for him to do this. For starters, since he lost his legs, he couldn't even walk. He just had to call on the Force just to even move around. So that's pretty hard for him. He had to relearn every move he needed to know. And it was incredibly hard for him to know all this. And he also was messed up as a lightsaber duelist. And still, he grew to be powerful just the same way as he was as Anakin. Although not as powerful as he was as Anakin, but probably at least just a few bit weaker than he was as Anakin. And as Anakin Skywalker, he was like twice as powerful as the Emperor, but according to George Lucas, as Vader, he reached about 80% of the Emperor's power. So pretty much although he's weaker than the Emperor, still, he reached a good amount of power for him to be weaker than him. It's not like Vader's going to be the most powerful being ever, but it's mainly likely that he's powerful enough to take on pretty much one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. And he was an incredibly fast and powerful duelist as Anakin. So having to relearn all of it made him lose a lot of potential than he had as Anakin. But still, as Darth Vader, he had incredibly raw power in the Force and as a lightsaber duelist. He's trained countless Inquisitors. He's faced off against Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker, and he's dealt with so much. He's walked through blaster shots, being able to resist anything. He can even block blaster shots with just his bare hand. He's incredibly strong and powerful. And also, he might even be, he's not as agile as he was as Anakin, but he was still able to move around as good as Anakin once did. But still, like I said, he's pretty much a little bit weaker than he was as Anakin. And don't forget, he trained Starkiller, who kills in the most deadly way probably. I mean, he killed over 1,000 stormtroopers, destroyed huge cybernetic machines, using just the Force and his sabers, and still he knows a lot of abilities in the Force. And there's one thing you can't forget. Starkiller, who Darth Vader trained, pulled down a complete Star Destroyer. So I'd say the fact that Vader was able to train him and fought. So Darth Vader's an incredibly powerful duelist. He's the most powerful duelist in the Empire, able to take on Kanan Jarrus, Ezra Bridger, Ahsoka Tano, Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Cere Junda, Cal Kestis. He's faced off against more Jedi than I can even count, and he's killed almost over 100 in Legends. But still, he's incredibly strong and powerful. He can also force choke someone from halfway across the galaxy, just by being a simple hologram. That's impressive for a Sith Lord. And although Vader has said repeatedly that he's not Anakin and Anakin was dead, still a part of the Chosen One was still in him, as he killed the Emperor, as the prophecy said. He will stop at nothing till the Empire, his master, or him wins. He'll stop at nothing. Almost everyone on the Empire has feared him, and he's been consistently called one of the deadliest Sith in history, which he is, and he's incredibly powerful, able to probably match up with Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka Tano, even the Emperor himself. He also toyed with Third Sister Reva throughout their entire battle, because Reva was pretty much outmatched and used too much of her anger and hate, making her very weak to the Dark Lord, and plus she's basically a rookie Inquisitor. Although Vader has to breathe through a machine to live, still it's impressive that he's able to use a lot of his potential in the Force and a lightsaber, and he's pretty much what we'd call a mechanical Sith Lord. But I'm not going to call him that, because I'm not mean, and plus Vader's my favorite character in Star Wars. And he has incredibly brutal punishments for anyone who dares fail him. So if you're an Inquisitor working for the Dark Lord, I'd say you should really be good at your job in order for you to not get force choked by him and have a so-called brutal death, or punishment like Reva had. He spent pretty much the next 15 years after Revenge of the Sith hunting all the Jedi down. Either his Inquisitors did it, or himself did it. But don't underestimate him. He's incredibly strong, powerful in the Force with a lightsaber, and he's an incredibly powerful and great lightsaber duelist. He can also take several objects being dumped on him. He also has a fireproof suit. He can walk through blaster shots, block any attack that comes his way. He's incredibly powerful. I've said that like a million times, because he is. The only thing that you could possibly do to get Vader weak enough for you to possibly kill him is either damage his breathing apparatus or damage his suit enough for him to not pay attention and get weak enough for you to be able to kill him. But I don't think you would be able to kill him based off of how powerful he really is. He's actually said to be the second biggest Jedi hunter and killer of them all. Second best. First goes to Darth Nihilus. But still, Vader's incredibly strong and powerful, able to move quickly and fast. Pretty much, he almost has the same amount of skills, like I've said, as Anakin, only still he's lost potential in the Force and with a lightsaber, so he still has to learn a bit more. And he also was able to beat Obi-Wan Kenobi in A New Hope, considering that in previous fights, Obi-Wan has beaten him every time. But the only question is, why does he beat him in A New Hope? Well, there's actually two reasons. One, because Obi-Wan is older now and can't fight as well with a lightsaber. But two is because Obi-Wan had also killed Darth Maul in the same stage. And also, they had a Force battle at the same time. Just by being around Vader's presence, was able to tire Obi-Wan Kenobi out and make him weak, and that's how Vader was easily able to beat him. So despite all of Vader's power, that's how he's earned the right of being one of the most powerful Sith Lords in all the galaxy. Kenobi! Darth Maul is someone who is destined to fail. I mean, after he was chopped up like a fruit ninja by Obi-Wan Kenobi in The Phantom Menace, well, after that, Maul was turned into a complete failure. He failed to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi. He failed to take on, he failed to take on Darth Sidious. And without any legs, well, although Maul was able to survive, that doesn't mean Maul still failed. As Darth Sidious's first apprentice, we can at least know that he is very powerful. He's one of the best swordsmen in the whole galaxy. I mean, with Sidious's training, Maul has learned so much, as he was powerful enough to take on Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he was said to kill almost 26 Jedi by himself. And although he used his double-bladed lightsaber, still, killing 26 in under an hour is very impressive. And after being cut up like a fruit ninja by Obi-Wan Kenobi, Maul lost potential. He had potential just like Darth Vader did, or like anyone else did, but Maul's potential had failed right after he lost to Obi-Wan Kenobi. He had potential to be Darth Sidious's most powerful apprentice, but that infinitely backfired as soon as he was cut by Obi-Wan Kenobi. But the impressive thing is that Maul survived. He has incredibly powerful and impressive acrobatic skills. Maul using a double-bladed lightsaber, he's a Zabrak species. He has 2 hearts, so you basically say he has 2 lives. If one heart stops pumping blood, then the other can still pump other. But if there's one thing wrong with Maul, he never is able to succeed. He wasn't able to succeed in becoming the rightful ruler of Mandalore. Although he was able to kill Pre Vizsla and become the king of Mandalore, he turned it from a simple peace to he turned it into a basic criminal Mandalorian empire. But also Maul hates the Empire after the events of Revenge of the Sith, the Clone Wars, pretty much anything after Revenge of the Sith. Maul hated the Empire because his mother had passed by General Grievous, and he even took on General Grievous, and he's able to use a lot of impressive force power. I mean, don't underestimate Maul, but still he fails, even though he seems menacing. He cannot stop failing. He fails to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi. He fails to become the rightful ruler of Mandalore. He fails at a lot. He failed to kill Anakin Skywalker. Now, although Maul is powerful, still, he needs to be better. In The Phantom Menace, he was extremely strong and powerful, and had a lot of potential, until Qui-Gon Jinn had happened, and, even though he killed Qui-Gon Jinn, it was Obi-Wan Kenobi who had killed Maul, or pretty much cut him in half. Now, the impressive thing is Maul was able to survive being cut in half, and spent the next 10 years driven by his anger over his death of Obi-Wan Kenobi, or him being cut by Obi-Wan Kenobi. One of the most impressive things is Maul's able to spin his saber around. He's got crazy acrobatic skills, and also is incredibly skilled with the double-bladed lightsaber. But also, Maul still needs to be stronger. That's why, even though he was able to kill Qui-Gon Jinn, he couldn't beat Obi-Wan Kenobi. And one of the most impressive things is Maul was able to take on Darth Sidious, the very person who had killed his brother, trained Count Dooku, and also could beat Master Yoda in a fight. Maul was able to take him on. Although Maul lost the duel, still he put up a good enough fight to give Sidious a run for his money, as Maul wielded the Darksaber and was moving fast, way fast, as he knew his old master's own skills. He feeds off of pain and fear to make him grow stronger in the Force. And something else is Maul was able to take Palpatine's Force Lightning, an attack that took out Mace Windu, mortally wounded Luke Skywalker, and also made Darth Vader's skeleton show up through the armor. Mainly, Maul started a criminal empire instead of, he quit trying to kill Kenobi and instead just created a criminal empire. He faced off against Ahsoka Tano, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Savage Opress, Darth Sidious, Pre Vizsla. He's very powerful. Although he lost some potential after being cut in half by Obi-Wan Kenobi, well, Maul still was able to try to keep pushing. And he still had some of the Force in him after he was found by his brother Savage Opress. And Maul had a bigger part to play in the Clone Wars. The only thing with Maul from the Clone Wars is after the Clone Wars had ended, Maul was just alone down for so many years, until he was found by young Padawan Jedi Ezra Bridger, so Maul tried to convince him to become his apprentice. But that's mainly probably the weakest version of Maul, or Maul's weakest time, which was Rebels, since he had barely seen anyone in so many years. As the best swordsman ever in the Sith cult, Maul was able to clash with Inquisitors and maybe even be able to take on Darth Vader himself. Maul cares and wants only what he wants, but he's never gonna get it. He's never gonna get what he wants. All that's gonna happen to him is he's just gonna fail. He failed at a lot of things. He failed to turn Ezra Bridger to the dark side. He failed to kill Darth Sidious, save his mother from General Grievous. He failed at so much. And although he did fail, still Maul just tried to keep pushing and only think of getting peace. But after that, Maul was driven by his singular hatred just for Kenobi, as he hated him so much that he even screamed it. Kenobi! Yeah, that's how much Maul hates him. Although Maul thought that he could beat Obi-Wan Kenobi, still it led to his death. By losing to his lifelong enemy Obi-Wan Kenobi, Maul tried to use his anger and hatred and skills that he had learned before to try to beat Obi-Wan Kenobi. But Maul mainly died because he was too old to live anymore. Although Maul had a rough and peaceful life, Maul still just needed to have a regular old Sith life, not a complete corrupt one, as he was taken away from his family as a child, became Darth Sidious's apprentice. Maul needed to learn how good he really was, and he could realize that he could possibly be good. So by all this, Maul has failed, he's accomplished, he's incredibly skilled for a lightsaber fighter. He knows Form 6 and Form 7. 2 deadly fighting moves, as he fights as one relies on force and the other lightsaber combat. As he trained Savage Opress, Maul still was incredibly strong in the Force after being cut by Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he was cut in half of his body cut off, and Maul was just still pushing. So Maul honestly just needs to accomplish a lot, as he only wishes for what he needs. Maul still needs to become strong enough to become one of the most powerful Sith Lords in all the galaxy, and Maul, well, we could just see if he's good enough for a fight. Well, now that we've gone over both of these two Sith Lords, now we have to determine which one of them is ultimately the most powerful. Well, as most Star Wars battles, they're pretty much always gonna go. It's gonna be a lightsaber and force battle. That's how mainly this is all gonna go. And if we're really looking at it this way, I'm actually gonna say Darth Vader is more powerful in both ways. Because although Maul is strong, one thing that Maul can do that Vader doesn't is Maul already knows all of his skills. He just lost it. Meanwhile, Vader had to relearn all of his skills. But Maul still is weaker than Vader, mainly because Vader is more skilled in the Force and with a lightsaber, so Maul just needs to get better at both. So, your winner here goes to Darth Vader. Well, let me know what you thought of this video. Hi guys, I'm Milo, and this is my channel, Darth Dragu. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and peace out.